What's up, guys? It's Gardy B with the Jenkins Jonez show. As always, I'm here with my good internet buddies, Dragonfly Jones, a.k.a. Tyler.
What's up, guys?
LeJethro Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's up, bubbas? And if you fuck with us, you want to see more of our content, please jump on YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
Very proud to be a Lakers fan. The Lakers beat the Warriors 134-123 to advance to the G League Western Conference semifinals. South Bay Lakers led by Mac McClung dropping 27 and 10 in a closeout W. This
Big
is
Mac
what Lakers
McClung fan.
Nation is all about. They tried to tell me this season was a disappointment. We're going to the fucking semifinals, bro.
The G League semi. Motherfucking the Sun zipped them boys up second year in a row, man. Damn. I don't know. It's wild. I don't feel any type of way about it. It's more, I guess I'm a bit relieved that I don't have to go through the fake hope of maybe saying that they'll pull it together, but because I started to give up on that fucking pipe dream, you know what I mean? So, just go ahead and take old Yeller out back and put it out as misery, man. It's time, bro.
This was the worst experiment ever, okay? Bro, this is the worst science experiment I've ever seen. Bro, y'all know I tapped out like 10 games in. I'm like, yo, this ain't it. I quit. Y'all like, it's Braun. He can do anything. I'm like, not today, Bubba. Not with them uncle legs. You know what I'm saying? He can get his 30, but he can't guarantee to help everybody else, G. You feel me? Like, dog, great year for Braun. You know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about AD experiment when we're talking about this shit. The most important thing you need to do as a basketball player is be available. I think he's played 60-something games in 2 seasons. Bro, we paying Westbrook $47 million, you know what I mean, next year. I don't know what needs to be done, but something needs to be done, G. Bron's wasting years, and we can't expect him to be putting this much effort into trash-ass seasons. We need to see him playing with his son. You feel what I'm saying? So I think that's the goal now. Preserve Bron until he's 48 and Bronny's in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Lowered expectations or whatever you want to call it. Because I had high hopes, man. If Bron could have got a ring for Russ and Melo, like 2 of my favorite fucking hoopers ever, like this would have been a perfect season. But we knew early, this shit wasn't clicking, bro. This curl was not quite curling. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man,
the
I
pick
don't know,
was not
man.
quite rolling.
Yeah.
I still remember that time. Who's gonna stop the pick and roll with AD and Westbrook?
Fucking
everybody, me, you, Somi, you know,
ankles,
what I'm saying?
knee tendons, everybody was gonna stop
Everybody
that.
right.
Ankles
They were
and
gonna
knee
stop
tendons.
themselves, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. How do y'all feel about AD? I know he's great. He's a god tier player when he's healthy, but he's just not been healthy. You know what I'm saying? And it feels like the bubble, that year was somewhat of an anomaly. You know what I mean?
I'll say this first of all, because I understand people hate the Lakers. It's it's all good. People who write off the bubble championship or something, it's kind of hilarious to me. Like,
that's just silly.
So to me, like, you make a trade, you give up some young players who are good, but who are not going to win you a championship. And you get a championship out of it. Any professional sports team, I know the Lakers are one of those teams where the fans expect a championship every year, but any professional sports team that makes a move that leads to a championship, the move worked, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, especially for me, that being during the pandemic, that's like one of my favorite sports moments ever, was being stuck at home with my family and actually having something to be happy about for a couple weeks during the playoffs. Since then, it has definitely been a rough couple seasons. AD, unfortunately, was getting some of the best jokes off at the Lakers' expense last night. He said we have more starting lineups than wins. He was right. I think he has to know that that's centered on him, So I just hope that he does whatever he needs to do. Some injury stuff's out of your control. Some of it's not out of your control. And I hope that he does whatever he needs to do physically this offseason to come back ready. But I would have thought this would have been the year that he did that. So I don't really know what to say about it. I think the criticisms of Bron the last week for not playing are the stupidest fucking thing ever. The dude is the age he is. That's a legit ankle roll. people who don't understand that once you roll an ankle a couple times, you roll it easier. They've never rolled an ankle. You know what I mean? But that dude fucked his ankle up. I wouldn't be out here grinding bone on bone right now either to try and make the 10 seed. So you could play the Suns if you win 2 play-in games. So you could play the Suns who just cooked you. Like, I fully behind Bron resting and supporting him, his body getting ready for next year. But as far as AD, the trade was a success. They won a championship, but last 2 years are tough, man. Yeah, no,
the question
you're right.
was the trade was a success. I'm thinking about the future. We needed the last 2 years for AD to be the best player on the team in order for them to be what we expected them to be. And we just don't get that. He
agree.
played. It was rough at the beginning of the season, but he played great when he was back. But he just wasn't healthy. You know what I'm saying? So when he's available, he's fucking AD. But he just is not available, and I don't know how that changes as he gets older. You know what I mean? And like you said, if
he needs to spend the offseason standing on a fucking balance board and stop falling down every 20 fucking seconds. It drives me crazy.
Grab the little shits Bron does and get that core right or whatever the fuck you need to do on that fucking ab ball. You know what I'm saying? To get that shit stabilized or whatever. But bro, I don't know what needs to be done. But I mean, I feel like he brought this up. Some of those injuries, man, like, I mean, there's a frequent, obviously, when like, Bron actually bumped the player into him and all that, but I'm wondering if he is just one of those guys. I mean, Bron is different. Bron does that shit, but also Bron has a build that allows him to take a lot of punishment. AD doesn't necessarily have that build. Most people don't. So I don't know if it's going to change.
I mean, AD, he tried. We saw him bulk up. He came in about 15 pounds heavier. And that fluidity that he had that made him a fucking menace, that shit was gone because of that. Bro. You know what I mean? So we can't go that route again. So
I like an NBA Live player.
Bulk down.
Right.
Yeah, right? So I honestly don't know what you do with AD here besides, pray and hope for the best. But as far as, are there any regrets about moving forward, and how they, blew up the young core for AD? No, I don't think
nobody's
that
asking that question. Right? Nobody's asking that question.
Because for one,
Laker haters are all over that. Like, you blew the shit up for a bubble championship, whatever.
That's silly.
I mean, for one, you don't win championships with young guys. You know what I mean? And two, young cores usually break themselves up, right? Young guys want more of a spotlight and they'll leave. They want a bigger bag that their team won't be able to give them and they leave. Young cores usually do not stick together anyway. So if you got it in you to blow that shit up and get a ring out of it, blow that motherfucker up. You know what I'm saying? So it's I don't think there's any regrets on the Lakers on that part.